You know what time it is, guys. Blackclover is right around the corner. So in today's video, predictions. We'll be going over my predictions of the upcoming chapters. To be reminded, we have 3 chapters coming. As I was told and what I've heard is that these 3 chapters are going to close out the volume. So expect something big to happen in the last chapter, right? And so these predictions are going to be in a way where it kind of predicts as to how the volume is going to end. So stay to the end to figure out just what the last chapter might unfold based on my predictions. So yeah, 3 chapters, November 14th will be released. Chapter 374 to 376 if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, these chapters are going to be heavily focused on Yami, Morgan, and Nacht. That's the huge battle that is taking place between Paladin and Morgan, as you all know, right? So predictions for the chapter. Let's get into it. So first, as we all know how the last chapter ended, we defeated Paladin Aesir. Now the next Paladin that is in our way is Paladin Morgan, who seems to be the strongest in my opinion, right? For obvious reasons. So how I think this chapter will start is we get a little moment between Morgan and Nacht, right? They get their introduction, reintroduction, they converse a little, they talk about we see Morgan try to convince Nacht of Lucius's plan and how he can finally redeem himself of what happened between their family and whatnot. We all know their past, right? So we're gonna have a little moment there. Nacht is not gonna buy into it, and from there on out, perhaps we're gonna get to see anti-magic Nacht. Now that's something I'm really excited to see. We see how much the fraction of anti-magic has given the Black Bulls so much strength. So now imagine the likes of Nacht, who is already one of the top tier fighters in Black Clover, has received anti-magic. Now just imagine how strong it will actually be with anti-magic influences his shadow magic, right? So we will see anti-magic Nacht on display this coming chapters, right? And I'm really excited to see as to what it can accomplish, its properties, and how much stronger it's gonna make Nacht, and if we're gonna get to see other fusions between his devils come from him in this fight, right? From there on out, I believe in this chapter 374, the first chapter, we're gonna get a moment with Ichika and Yami. Of course, they're gonna perhaps have a little conversation, a little throwback to something. A conversation is gonna be held between them. I know the chapter kind of made it seem as though Nacht and Morgan is storming right ahead to the Morgan, but there's gonna be an interception there. Trust me, between the Nacht and Morgan conversation. Right in that moment, Ichika and Yami might have their own little moment, and from there on out we can get to see questions being answered and stuff like that. And from there on out, after all that has happened, Nacht and Ichika will take stance and continue to fight against Morgan. And I believe that's how the first chapter will go, and it will play out, and the end of that chapter will be the beginning of that huge fight. Now the next chapter following that will perhaps be like Ichika and Nacht versus Morgan. We'll get to see their full talents put into play. Ichika's dark magic, perhaps we get another spell from her transformation unfolded, more Zetan attacks. We'll get to see more Nacht's anti-magic display. We get to see him potentially combine the different devils together to make a new one. Heck, he might well control and put all them into one fusion. That's something I'm seeing people talk about, that he might perhaps just fuse all devils at once, right, and go all out 100% with all of them. And with that combined with anti-magic and perhaps infinite synergy with Ichika. Let's not forget Ichika is a dark magic mage, and she will obviously play a huge role in Nacht's performance. And so right after that, I feel as though at some point in this battle, Morgan will realize that he's being contested, and he's being pushed a little, right? So with that, he will go full strength. He will respond with new attacks, new spells, and show his true strength granted to him. Let's not forget he is bounded to, the Prime Minister of Hell, what's his name again? Lucifugus, right? So that's one of the strongest devils of hell, combined with a very strong mage of himself, that being Morgan. So that fight will lean towards Morgan at some point. I feel as he's gonna overpower them, and with that, they're gonna need great assistance, and Yami will respond to this. Yami, with Ichika's presence and Nox's influence, overall will stir up something in him, stir up some emotions, and awaken something. Now, this is kind of like theory territory right now. We all know how it is with Yami's devil heart being implanted in him from the Cleaver tree, or being awakened in him, right? And his past in the Land of Rising Sun, him being, his clan being very closely tied to devil origins, right? So I feel as though in this chapter we will see Yami awaken some type of new power, right? A surge in his magical capabilities. Something will unfold in Yami this chapter, and it will potentially be this Kijin form that was brought up in the past, of the Yami clan's past. So look out for a huge moment for Yami this coming 3 chapters. Believe probably 375 we will get something huge for Yami. So I believe that Yami will awaken this hidden power, potentially the Kijin form. Now, to end off this chapter, perhaps we will see if Yami awakens, the Dark Trio will emerge. Yami, Ichika, and Nacht will all come together full strength and aid each other in the fight against Morgan. This will make them all matched. This will put Paladin Morgan on the defensive and potentially on the losing end, right? We all know that Yami is really strong already, so just imagine how much stronger he will if he awakens this new strength. And with the additional strength of the others, he might just be the key to them winning this fight. So the Dark Trio will, or I'm anticipating that the Dark Trio will come about this chapter and fight against Morgan. I think Tabata is setting it up just like this, to have the 3 dark mages, 3 closely related mages with their past and their magic and everything, come together up against Morgan. This is how I think it will play out, and the following chapter, the last chapter, this fight will ultimately reach a climax, the end of Morgan. We will see him defeated or something else, who knows, and it will bring a very emotional and very intense fight come to an end, right? This fight will reach a climax in chapter 376, that's correct? Yeah, I believe 376, and hopefully it will be good. These 3 chapters will comprise of 61 pages. I don't know how Tower is going to pull it off, but 20 pages per chapter, it looks like. And yeah, I think these chapters are going to be very straightforward. So, straightforward and fast paced. So this chapter, the last chapter, will conclude this fight, right? We will see how it pays off, what it leads into, and whatnot. From there on out, I think we're going to get a POV switch. We're going to get a switch to Asta, and arriving at the Lucius' throne. And let's not forget, we left them off right there when the other Black Bulls, Finro specifically, allowed him to get a faster approach to the flying base, right? So he's pretty close. Asta is pretty close to Lucius' throne. So I feel as though we're gonna get an immediate switch to Asta there to find out if he's reached that throne. I know in my previous videos I came up with the idea of Asta and Yuno being intercepted, someone interrupting them, but that's strictly theory, right? Based on how it's going, based on what might happen, Asta might just end up arriving at Lucius straight there and done, right? And from there, something will happen. Lucius' plan will take flight, and his grand spell will be explained. Let's not forget that he has casted this huge spell over the kingdom that is now taking fruit, right? And I feel as though in the midst of all this, what is happening is coming off as though the heroes are winning, the Magic Knights are winning, right? The last paladin will be taken down. From there on out, it seems as though the Clover Kingdom is winning, but that's what Tabata wants us to think, right? So what I think is going to happen is, obviously, once they arrive at Lucius' throne, a plan will unfold. Lucius' true plan will take flight, and his grand spell that he's now casting over the kingdom will be explained, will be brought to light, and the tides of the war will change. Something will unfold. Something spectacular will unfold. A huge plot twist to bring the close to this volume, right? And it will change the tides of this war entirely. Something big is going to happen, and I trust Tabata will drop a banger chapter. This last chapter is about to be a banger. Just you watch, right? My predictions may not be straight. Perhaps Asta and Yuna don't arrive at the base and something else happens, but I feel as though the way at the pace it's going, I think it's kind of fair for us to actually see Lucius. It's been a while since we've seen him. We only see a few shots of him here and there, but I feel as this chapter the last chapter specifically, will focus on him a bit, and we'll get to see what he plans to do with this huge spell, his plan for Asta, his plan for maybe, and overall what's going to happen to the Clover Kingdom, right, as a result of this spell, and what's going to emerge after this. I feel as though this last chapter will have a plot twist of sorts, and I'm really excited to see what it's going to be. So without further ado, guys, that's my predictions for the upcoming chapters. Pretty straightforward, you ask me. 60 pages, and they're going to close out the volume. To me, that seems like the most reasonable things that might happen these coming chapters. But if you guys have anything else to say, anything else to add on, something that you think might happen in exchange for one of these events that I described, go ahead, drop in the comments down below, guys. I love to hear from you guys a lot. I want to hear your takes on the upcoming chapters, and yeah, without further ado, don't forget to like the video, guys. Come on, let's get this video up there in the algorithm. Black Clover needs to be heard of. There's not many talking about Black Clover at this moment, and Black Clover is finally returning this November. Let's get the hype going. So please, if you like the video, enjoy my predictions, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We cover Black Clover on here a lot. Without further ado, guys, please take care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys in another one. Peace.